Today, we're going to talk about something most people never even think about. A moment that happens once a year at exactly the same time with precision that defies randomness. Every November 11th, Veterans Day, at precisely 11:11 a.m., the sun aligns perfectly through the 5 pillars of the Anthem Veterans Memorial in Arizona to illuminate the Great Seal of the United States. 11:11 at 11. Perfect, precise, unchanging. And you're supposed to believe that this happens while we're spinning, orbiting, and flying through an infinite void at breakneck speed. Let's talk about it. We are told that the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting the Sun at 66,000 miles an hour. The Sun itself is orbiting the center of the galaxy at 500,000 miles an hour, and the entire galaxy is flying through space at over 1,000,000 miles an hour. All of this motion, all of this chaos, all of this drifting, spiraling, tumbling movement, and yet on the same day, at the same time, every single year, the sun hits the exact same spot on a fixed monument. Explain that. Now listen, I'm going to be fair here because we're going to have real conversations. We have to understand both sides. Physics says this alignment is possible because Earth's motion is cyclical, not chaotic. We don't tumble aimlessly. We move in repeating, predictable patterns. Earth has a fixed axle tilt. Earth has a repeating orbit. Seasons follow a set rhythm. Solar angles repeat every 365 days. That's why sundials work. That's why solstices fall on the same date. That's why Stonehenge still works today. And that's why the Anthem Memorial can be engineered to catch the sunlight at exactly 11:11 on November 11th. The sun on that day and at that moment returns to the same geometric position above Arizona almost perfectly. That's the scientific explanation. And I'm not going to pretend it doesn't exist, but that's the only one layer of the onion. Because science might explain the geometry, but it doesn't explain the system behind the geometry. It explains how. It does not explain why. The deeper question is this: why does the universe behave like a perfectly tuned clock in the first place? Why does everything align? Why does everything repeat? Why is everything harmonic? Why could ancient cultures thousands of years ago predict the heavens with more precision than modern computers? Why does the sun return to the same point? Why does Polaris never move? Why do sacred structures across the world align flawlessly with the sky? You want honesty? Here it is. Physics describes the instructions. It does not explain the author. Let's talk about Polaris, the North Star, the fixed star, the cosmic anchor. We're told Earth is spinning, wobbling, orbiting, rocketing, and drifting, and yet Polaris stays locked in place every night of your life. The Georgia Guidestones had a hole drilled right to Polaris, and for decades Polaris sat perfectly in that hole, night after night, year after year. If we're spinning in 8 different directions at once, that shouldn't happen. Science will say Polaris is so far away that that angle barely changes. Fair enough. But again, why is the universe built so that a star sits exactly on our axis for centuries? Why do we even have an axis? Why is alignment even possible? Why does everything behave like machinery? Here is the argument physics cannot defeat. The heavens operate like a clock, not like chaos, not like a random explosion, not like a drifting galaxy in an infinite void. A clock. Everything has its place. Everything has its rhythm. Everything has its timing. Everything has its return. Cultures around the world knew this. The Egyptians, the Mayans, the Navajo, the Hopi, the Druids, the Vedic astronomers, the Chinese emperors, the builders of Göbekli Tepe, the architects of Angkor Wat, the designers of the Great Pyramid. all of them built structures that align with the sun, moon, and the stars with supernatural precision. Why? Because they understood the truth. We are inside a system, not a mistake, not an accident, a system, a divine system, a geometric system, a harmonic system, a system of cycles, ratios, patterns, and resonance. This is not randomness. This is architecture. So here's the real question. If we live on a spinning ball rocketing through space, how do we explain Stonehenge, the Sun Dagger, the Great Pyramid, the alignments with Chacoco Canyon, Angkor Wat's solstice, the Mayan equinox, serpent at Chichen Itza, the guidestones pointing to Polaris, and now the Anthem Memorial's 11/11 illumination? The scientific answer, these cycles repeat, predictably. The metaphysical answer, because the universe is a precise mechanism, created with intention. Both statements can be true, but the second one carries the weight, because the deeper you look, the more the universe looks engineered, not accidental, not chaotic, engineered. The debate isn't, can physics describe the alignment? Of course it can. The real debate is, why does the alignment exist? Why does the system repeat? Why do cycles dominate the cosmos? Why do angles, ratios, harmonics, and sacred geometry govern everything from starlight to sound waves to human consciousness? Why does the universe feel more like a musical instrument than a random explosion? Why do numbers like 3, 6, and 9 appear everywhere? Why does the sun set at the same point? Why does Polaris sit unmoving? Why does the moon sync with the human biology? Why does solstice anchor every ancient temple? Why does everything feel connected? Physics can't answer that. Science can't answer that. Your brother can't answer that. Because the answer is not mathematical. It is architectural. It is intentional. It is sacred. So here's the truth. Yes, the Anthem Memorial can be engineered to catch the sun at 11/11 on Veterans Day. Yes, the Guidestone's hole can point to Polaris for generations, but the question is not whether physics can describe it. The question is, why is the universe built so that these alignments are even possible? Why is everything cyclical? Why is everything harmonic? Why is everything predictable, beautiful, and purposeful? Why is the cosmos a clock? Maybe because it was meant to be one. Maybe the ancients knew something we forgot. Maybe the heavens are not chaos, but code. Maybe the universe is not an accident, but architecture. And maybe, just maybe, we are living not on a spinning rock in a void, but inside a sacred system designed with intention, mathematics, frequency, and meaning. That's the real conversation. That's the real mystery. And that's why World Patriot Radio is here. To break the matrix, to challenge the narrative, to rediscover the truth, to remind humanity that we are not lost in space. We are part of a cosmic design, a clock, a temple, a system, a creation, and the 11/11 sun is just one of the signatures of the architect.